The diner smelled of burnt toast and strong coffee that morning. Forks clattered against plates, the hum of chatter filling the room. But at the counter, tension quietly brewed. A police officer leaned on the edge, his eyes fixed on a black woman sitting alone by the window. She wasn't causing trouble. She wasn't loud. She wasn't even looking his way. She sat still, back straight, hands resting on the table, a quiet strength surrounding her silence. And maybe that was a problem. Her silence. The next day, same place with her book, minding her business. He hated that she didn't seem bothered by him, that she carried herself with dignity in a room where his badge often brought fear. Without reason, without thought, he picked up a steaming cup and tipped it, letting the coffee spill across her table. The liquid spread quickly, soaking the napkin by her hand, creeping toward her lap. The room gasped. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notification bell to get notified for more. Share to friends. Where are you watching from? Please tell us in the comments. We love seeing how far our story goes. The woman didn't move at first. She simply stared at the mess spreading before her, then quietly reached for a napkin, blotting the spill with slow, steady movements. No words, no anger, just silence. Her calmness unsettled everyone around. Murmurs floated through the diner. Some shook their heads. Others avoided looking at her at all, pretending nothing happened. The officer smirked, satisfied with his petty display of power, convinced he had embarrassed her. Minutes passed, heavy with awkwardness. Then the bell above the door jingled. Heads turned. A tall young man in full military uniform stepped inside. His presence commanded respect instantly. The shine of his medals caught the light. The creases in his jacket spoke of discipline, and the weight of service clung to him like armor. He scanned the room briefly, then his gaze softened as it landed on the woman at the corner. A wide smile broke across his face. "Mom," he said warmly, walking straight to her. The entire diner froze. Gasps rippled. The officer's jaw tense, his hand tightening on the counter as the soldier bent down and hugged the woman. She touched his cheek, her eyes bright, but still calm, the same way she had been a moment ago when coffee was dripping off the edge of her table. He pulled out a chair, sat beside her, and began chatting like the spilled coffee never happened. The officer shifted uncomfortably. A woman he had tried to humiliate had just been revealed as the mother of a national hero. Suddenly, his badge felt smaller. The smug expression that had sat proudly on his face began to fade. People whispered, their eyes bouncing between the soldier and the cop. Some diners even looked at the officer with disgust, realizing how small his action had been compared to the quiet dignity of the woman and the honor her son carried. The soldier finally noticed the soaked napkins and the empty coffee cup near the officer. His eyes narrowed, piecing the scene together, without anyone saying a word. He turned to his mother, voice low but firm. "Did he do this?" She touched his hand gently, shaking her head, choosing silence over accusation. Her restraint spoke louder than any confirmation. The son clenched his jaw, not in anger but in disappointment. He looked back at the officer, his stare sharp, steady, unwavering. The room fell silent. No more clattering dishes, no more small talk. Every eye was fixed on the confrontation. The officer tried to glance away, but the soldier's gaze anchored him in shame. For the first time, the power dynamic shifted. His uniform and badge couldn't protect him from the truth staring back at him. One elderly man at a booth finally spoke. "That's her boy? The one who saved those soldiers overseas." Heads nodded. Recognition spread across faces. This wasn't just any uniform. This was a man who had risked everything for the very country the officer claimed to serve. Respect filled the room, not for the cop, but for the family he tried to belittle. The soldier stood, helped his mother up, and guided her out the door. She left without a single word, leaving behind dignity that echoed louder than any confrontation. The officer sat stiff, coffee cup still in his hand, the weight of everyone's eyes pressing on him. He had tried to break a woman with cruelty, but instead, he broke his own reputation. The lesson hung heavy in the air, undeniable and sharp. Prejudice is not power. Hatred doesn't elevate, it destroys. The officer's behavior revealed his weakness, while the woman's silence showed strength. Her son's arrival reminded everyone that behind every face is a story. Behind every person is a life worthy of respect. Moral lesson: we must never assume superiority over others, especially based on skin, silence, or status. Every person deserves dignity, because you never know who they are, who they've raised, or what battles they fought. Treating people with fairness costs nothing, but disrespecting costs you everything. Society thrives only when equality replaces hate.